Water collection. There's a pipe here that runs to a water butt near the house. All the water that runs off the house into the water butt and then down this pipe and into this rowing boat.
All right.
Also, the water from our shower also goes into there and down this pipe and into the rowing boat. That's in there as a result of about 4 people having a shower this morning.
All right, and what's with the submerged bathtub in the dirt?
This is just my wood shed. Off this side, I've got a trough, made some old redundant chicken feeders. And off the one side, it runs down here and fills this bath. Off the other side of the wood shed, we have no guttering, but a row of water butts that just collect the water from all the way along there.
All right.
And then we have the greenhouse.
Okay, stop. You need. Oh, go ahead with the water thing. I want you to get to the tires in a minute, which I think are genius.
Water that runs off the greenhouse down this pipe, fills this water butt, overflows into this one, overflows into that one, overflows into that one. The other side of the greenhouse.
Oh, mention the fact that you built the greenhouse yourself.
Well, I didn't. I put it together myself. My friend dismantled it from an old folks' home who was being demolished, and he didn't have any instructions to put it together, but he'd taken 1 or 2 photographs before they took it apart. So it took me about a month of scratching my head to get it together again, but we did it. Back to the water collection. And here, off the water coming off this side of the greenhouse comes down this pipe into this one, overflows into that one, overflows into that one, which overflows into the bath.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Not much to overflow at the moment.
No. We're very short of water at the moment.
You said it hasn't rained in about, what, 3 months?
No, for not significantly, no. Okay.
All right, so what do we have over here
Over
in
here,
the tires?
you have 6 Land Rover tyres.
All right.
We've got young radishes in there. In there is some salad rocket, and a few cos lettuce plants behind it. In these tyres, you've got a couple of herbs, not herbs. That's thyme, which looks a bit brown in the moment because it's gone to seed. That's all seed, just the brown, there. That's parsley. They are outdoor tomatoes.
All right.
Little jam lettuces. Everything is up off the ground because I have rabbits in the garden that would eat everything. So that's why everything is raised some way or another.
All right.
Over there we have climbing French beans.
All right.
There we have some strawberries that are not looking very healthy.
Oh, and what, pray tell, is this pile of stuff over here, Dad?
That pile of stuff over there is horse muck.
Okay.
And I get about 15 bags every 2 weeks from my cousin. He's got 1 pony, and you'd never think that it could ever produce that much, but it does. Horses are good for costing you money, eating, and shitting.
Right. So there you have it, and so there you have built-in fertilizer, and it does not smell that bad.
Most of these beds, raised beds, think they are filled with horse muck, and then just a sprinkling of finer compost on top, so that you can take the seeds.
All right, I'm looking for a bean on here. Where are we at? I saw a big one the other day.
There.
There we go. Look at that. A very nice size bean. Okay.
More healthy than the ones I've been getting from Sainsbury's. I've stopped having them for the last few weeks. They've been horrible.
All right, so
That's an old kitchen sink. That's a polystyrene fish box. Strawberries in there.
and I noticed the netting, so you keep the animals
netting
out.
is to keep the birds off. The birds just take them all. Some more lettuces. some more tomatoes, onions, red onions, brown onions. Over there are some leeks. There's some picking lettuce.
Oh, so here we go. We got a nice
Got
tire connect. More
There's
tires.
radishes in there.
Radishes,
Lettuce.
lettuce.
These are large water drainage pipes.
Oh, okay.
Spring onions, baby leaf spinach, spring onions, lettuce plants, which will be thinned out and planted out in other beds. Picking lettuce, it's just leaf. It doesn't come into a head. You just pick it.
All right.
Oh.
And then what's on this tree?
Plums on this tree.
This is a plum tree? Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Wow, they look nice. Okay. Starting to get purple.
You've got rhubarb there, Miss.
Oh, rhubarb.
Yeah, you've got rhubarb to eat, actually. She's going to make a crumble.
Oh, she's going to make a rhubarb crumble? Ooh, okay. Ooh, look at those onions. All right. Okay.
There's more rhubarb over there. There's more herbs here. That's rosemary, sage.
And those are cooking apples. These are all, these trees
apples
are filled with apples, right?
From that one tree, Bramley cooking apples, which will be big later. And from that one tree, we have a year's supply of stewed apples in the freezer.
Wow, okay.
And we don't use them all. You know, we give them away and don't even use half of them.
Okay, show me what's in the greenhouse.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do the greenhouse and then we'll go to the back.
More
All right.
rhubarb just there. Got a group of seed.
Wow.
Okay. You can see more tomatoes here.
Uh-huh.
That's basil.
Ooh, I can smell it.
I just love basil.
Basil as in basil.
Basil.
Very, very big
I
basil.
love it. I love it.
Tree looking thing. Okay.
In here, Miss, if you can get in here, that's a little fig tree here.
Wow, you have a fig tree.
See the
in your
baby?
backyard.
Can you see the baby figs on it?
I can.
Green figs coming on along here. Look,
Oh yeah.
that's quite a young one. Back here is a big fig tree. Been in there
That
for a
thing is
long time.
huge.
There's one or two coming on here already, but they'll be later. More end of the summer.
I don't usually see pigs.
More
except in
tomatoes,
stately house
tomatoes.
greenhouses. Stately home greenhouses.
And these are all strawberries?
They're all strawberries.
Strawberries in big buckets.
More tomatoes. They're going to be chilies. That thing is going to be chilies there.
All right.
Don't need too many. You just chop them up and put in small bits and put them in the freezer. More tomatoes. This is a cucumber vine here. But it's a variety. I forgot what it is because I had the plant given me. But they only come real small like that.
Oh, so like mini
And they're
cucumbers.
not all lumpy like
No.
a lot of the homegrown.
And you get lots
cucumbers.
of them. No, those they're called ridge cucumbers, aren't they? They used to grow on a ridge of muck, and they're all lumpy and spiky. You have to
Yes,
peel them.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, not to mention, we have
I've
grapevines.
got I've got a grapevine that it comes up over there, and then I've spread it out and fanned it all along.
God, Steve would love
Supports. They're not a green grape. They are a really dark black grape. It's a variety called Black Hamburg, and they are very sweet. Unfortunately, they do have pips in them. They're not seedless, but I don't mind. Yeah, and that does quite well.
Wow, okay. All right, so continuing. We are not done, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot more stuff in this very creative MacGyver backyard.
This is just a jungle of raspberries, basically. I just let them do whatever they want. And
So these are all raspberries,
they're
okay.
all raspberries. But because
More
there's
horse
been
manure?
so, yeah, I'll be planting.
Wait, this one pony does that huge pile and this whole huge pile.
Yeah,
Every couple of weeks you get another pile.
and all these beds are filled as well.
So explain this plastic stuff the beds are in. What kind of thing did you build here? What are these? Were these
Well-
just plastic pallets and you...
Well, these are wooden pallets.
Yeah, these are wooden pallets that
And
you meshed together.
And I asked someone to get me some pallets, and he said, "Oh, I could only get these plastic ones." So I got plastic pallets here
I've never even
to
heard
stop
of plastic pallets.
to stop the soil coming out. because that's got holes in and there's space between the boards. You have to line it with something, so it's old carpet there.
All right.
Anything you can get just to hold the soil in. Because they're plastic, I couldn't actually nail it down or anything there, so I had to sew it on with string to hold to stop it
That is very
flipping
Robinson,
inside.
isn't it? I love it.
So what's back here? I see some more, fencing to keep animals out. Like, what are you
Well,
growing
that's
back
just
there?
next door's failed, but there's so many apple trees. So you've got your plum tree back there.
Another
That-
plum tree. Tons of apple
that's
trees.
a russet apple, which
Oh, I love it.
they have a very rough skin, but if you peel them, they got a fantastic, almost perfume flavour. That's a I don't know what that is. That's another dessert apple. In there is a dessert apple. That's a Laxton's. I know that. That's very sweet. This is another dessert apple. It was unknown variety because I had the tree given me when it was really tiny. The plum tree that you saw first is the variety is a Tsar, which comes fruits earlier than this one, which is Britain's favourite plum, the Victoria plum, which are fantastic flavour. And you can see she's got quite a few on here this year.
So these will still be turning purple then.
They'll turn purple later.
There's a lot of them. Yep.
A few years ago, there was so much fruit on here that actually broke the branches. And over there was a huge bed of horse muck, same as over there. It's a huge bed of horse muck.
So I was just stepping on that.
Go down a bit, and you can see it dried up quite a bit.
Well, you can't even smell it. I mean, it is really good fertilizer. I mean, everything grows like crazy back here.
That will be like compost. I'll just put it through a sieve, and that will be just like compost. It just turns to soil. There's that courgettes or zucchini for you lot. You can see I already cut a big one this morning, but there's another one coming there, which in a day or two will be plenty big enough. And I've got there's one here. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that one is huge right there.
There's one here. If you forget them, they get too big.
They get too big and they don't taste good. Nice. Okay, that is a very big zucchini. There's my hand.
Feral zucchini plants. These ones with a paler coloured leaf, different shaped leaf, they are squashes. And some of these smaller ones are butternut squashes.
Butternut squash, okay.
And they're not as vigorous this year because they have so little rain. And then there's another load of horse muck down here. But next year I just plant stuff in it.
So you don't just dig that into dirt. You literally use that as it is.
Yeah, that down there, that was just a huge pile like this is. It'll go down.
It's incredible.
And it's had gooseberries here, but birds had them all. I forgot to put net over them.
I wish there was a gooseberry here because Americans have no idea what a gooseberry is. So this is a gooseberry bush.
The birds have eaten them all, unless there's some odd one hanging underneath.
Ooh, stinging nettles. Okay, I'll avoid those.
There's a gooseberry, I think.
Oh, there's a gooseberry.
There's some gooseberries
come
here,
on
and
this
this with
side.
our baby ones. They're very small ones.
Oh, no, that is
There's
what
a
they look
fair
like.
size
No,
one.
that's a decent sized one. This is here, hold it still. I'm going to take a picture. I keep telling people every now and then, oh yeah, you don't know what gooseberries are? Or gooseberry pie? No one has any idea. I'd like to see what that actually is.
And that is a walnut tree.
Oh, wow, okay.
Well, we've got a walnut
Oh,
tree
that's
there.
right.
You can
This
see a
is
few
huge.
walnuts on it. That one.
So you got a
green,
walnut
with
tree.
With just a green skin.
So that green skin, is the nut going to be inside the green skin? Or,
Yes.
or so eventually
Like
the
a
green skin
conker.
kind of pops out?
It rots off. They
Rots
fall
off
down
and then the
it
nut
rots away.
comes. Okay, so I didn't know walnuts look like this before I get them at the store.
So this is selection. I did not know
That
walnuts came in
is a walnut from a tree. That green thing is going to have a walnut inside it.
And
And this thing is huge.
very strange of tannin.
Does
Yeah,
it?
really strong stain from it. This one is a neighbour down the corner there. He's got 2 big mature walnut trees, and a squirrel came all the way up and planted a nut in one of our flower pots
Really?
in the front of the house. So I took it out and I planted it there, and it's grown like crazy. That's only about 4 years growth. I mean,
That thing is what, like maybe 15, 16 feet in 4 years?
there's 12 feet in it.
12 feet.
The greenish growth there that you can see on the top, that's all this year's.
Wow.
It's amazing. And this, we planted at age, well, this is another big cooking apple tree, but we often don't really need to use it.
Because that other one
yeah.
is so heavy with
Yeah,
fruit, isn't
yeah.
it?
And that there is a hazelnut, the bush there.
Oh yeah. This is more like a tree, isn't it? This is the hazelnut, right?
Yeah, they don't grow too tall. And the one right down at your feet there, that's a hazelnut too. That would have been a nut that's fallen off the tree, basically. But I've got quite a few more down here.
I don't see any on here right
There's
now.
one on there at the moment.
Oh, okay, that was the apple tree. This is a hazelnut thing. Okay, it is like a big bush tree kind of looking thing.
Oh, I've got another little plum tree there. Super little ones from Tesco. It's nearly half dead when you sell them.
What, this one here?
That's a plum tree. That one. It's too young. There's nothing much on it.
Oh, I do see one right there. I mean, it's green.
And then and this here.
I'm getting in the way of the filming.
It's okay.
You'll have to do a director's cut.
This here is there's another hazelnut tree that is planted courtesy of a squirrel. Because
Yeah, you can see the leaves.
squirrel buried a nut there because it's too far to have fallen from the tree there. And then they're everywhere now. There's one just under the apple tree here.
Okay, so the hazelnuts, when it falls down, does it have like a green thing around it and you peel it and the hazelnuts inside? Or does it actually look like a hazelnut on the tree when it's done?
No, there's one down the bottom there. The squirrels get them all.
So when do they actually,
No, I don't know.
when do you harvest them? You know what I mean? When do the
Probably
hazelnuts?
autumn. I don't know.
Oh, so you never get to them before the
I never
squirrels
get to
do?
them before the squirrels do. Yeah, but
No, I remember as a kid climbing in a hazelnut tree and picking off hazelnuts.
yeah.
But I
always, for the longest time, thought that that acorns were hazelnuts.
when you were a kid.
Aren't hazelnuts in like a little
In a little
green nest?
yes.
Sort of
Yeah,
thing?
they've got
That's how
they've got a little thing on the top, haven't they?
Yes.
That, and then the nut eventually goes brown and falls off.
But the nut looks like a hazelnut to me, so I always thought that acorns were hazelnuts.
Just under the apple tree there's a hazelnut tree as well that's been planted by a squirrel. And then in amongst these raspberries here, that's another hazelnut.
The place.
There's another hazelnut there.
You know, hazelnuts are expensive in America.
That's a squirrel.
You could kind of have a little side business, Dad, if you got to them before the squirrels did.
So I just leave them, you know. Eventually it'll turn into a fruit and nut forest, you know.
That'll be wonderful, wouldn't it?
I love how this tree is like a little cave.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
I mean over there near the on the left of the rhubarb, you see that piece of wood sticking up?
Yep.
That's a stake I put in. There's a hazelnut bush there as well.
Wow. Okay.
And there are no hazels near here. It couldn't have fallen there. A squirrel must have planted it there.
Ooh, look at this plum. That thing is almost ripe. Look at that thing. Very nice.
I keep taking the top out so we can reach the fruit. And then that encourages the other ones to go longer and they bow down. But it shades the greenhouse too much. You know,
Of course it would,
just,
yeah.
you have a greenhouse there and then some fool planted an apple tree in front of it.
It's beautiful, it's great. I mean, this must be so old, though, this apple tree.
Well, yeah, I suppose I put it here fairly year or two after we got here. I mean, I thought, you know, people think, oh, I don't own the place, whatever. And if you want trees, well, just stick them in as soon as possible.
Yeah,
That's it.
because you're never going to have to leave these
And
places, are you?
and time goes so quick before you know it, you got that really.
Absolutely. Well, we've got an apple tree which is ancient and a plum tree which is quite new, which I thought would never develop into anything. So perhaps it will, having seen these.
Well, you know,
Well, you got to get the horse manure.
Well,
okay?
that's where
That's
I'm
your
going
secret.
wrong.
That's where you're going wrong.
No horse
Right?
manure. Yeah.
on all the most of the trees you buy are sort of dwarf varieties, aren't they? Don't intend to grow very big, and you get they're on a dwarfing rootstock, and then you got the knobble a little way up where they've been grafted onto a different
Yes, you can
rootstock.
see ours has grown now. I mean, it's tall-ish, but you can see where the
Yeah.
graft was.
Well, I probably did the wrong thing. If you get soil or muck or anything around it, so over the top of that, it'll start sending roots out of the top bit, and then it'll turn into a proper sized tree, whether you like it or not.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that ain't no dwarf apple tree.
There's
I just
no
love
dwarf
how it's
of that.
turned into a little cave. I mean, I would imagine little kids would
Okay, so the last thing I want you to videotape is your
My grandchildren,
that.
I mean, they
have a
would-
little tea
kayak.
party.
No, the kayak, yeah. So explain the kayak, Dad. When you were doing this, you were just kind of bored on your own during COVID, thinking of something to do. And you did what?
Well,
kids at home, they were interested.
I looked online and in a book about the Eskimo Inuit Greenland kayak, which, as you probably know, is a framework covered in seal skins. So it's a skin on frame. Now the modern version of this, there's several designs, but I designed this one myself, is a wooden framework, and then you stretch a skin over it, but the skin this time is ballistic nylon
All right.
that they make either backpacks or several layers were in a bulletproof vest and stuff like that. And then you seal the fabric with with paint or varnish. Why won't it shut?
Two-handed job of this.
All right.
Right, so skin on frame kayak.
Oh, a sleeping baby. All right.
I'm going to be able to do this quietly.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Although she'll kill you if it wakes up.
Not a flicker at the moment.
All right, brilliant. So you did these wood pieces and varnished them.
so under here we have a wooden frame with ribs bent. I'll turn it over and show you in a minute. This is nylon. If you wet it and then stretch it on as best you can, and then it'll go tight as a drum. So it shrinks a bit. Often when it gets wet again, it'll loosen up a little bit, and then when it dries, it'll tighten up again. The more times you do that, the tighter it gets. But we